Welcome to this explainer. Today we are stepping right into a story. It is an epic and honestly kind of funny adventure. This is the tale of a guy named Dong and his wild, very extreme experiment.
Let me ask you something. Could you sit in total silence for 8 hours? No phone, no food? Seriously, just think about that for a second. It sounds literally impossible, right? Well, that is exactly what our hero tried to do.
Chapter 1. The Circle Day Quest. Now, Dong originally wanted to go on a 10-day silent retreat, but with his busy work schedule, he just couldn't get the time off. He had to get a little creative. He actually found this cool concept in a book called The Diamond Cutter. It is called a Circle Day. What is it? Basically, it is one completely silent, distraction-free day to focus deeply and find some inner answers. You just sit in your circle, so to speak. So to make this happen, Dong rented a small, quiet room in Tainan for his own one-day retreat. But he didn't just want a calm mind. He wanted to heal his body too, so he decided to stop eating entirely. This triggers a scientific process called autophagy. It is a big word, but it basically just means that when you stop eating food, your body acts like a giant vacuum. Your cells begin to clean out all the old, useless waste.
Chapter 2. Rules of the Game. Dong treated this whole thing like a very serious, very difficult mission, and he set some extreme rules for himself.
First up is this giant number, 44. For exactly 44 hours, Dong would go completely without food, just water, nothing else. Then we have the number 8. This is the agonizing number of hours he planned to sit completely still and meditate. No phone, no electronics, total silence. Chapter 3. The First Obstacles. Okay, let's dive into this and see how his day actually started, because every great adventure has its problems right out of the gate. His morning routine kicked off at 5 a.m. He woke up, read a bit, and went for a swim. But get this, he only swam 400 meters, and he did it very, very gently. Why? Well, because swimming makes you incredibly hungry, and he still had over 30 hours of fasting left. While swimming, he kept repeating this famous Navy SEAL's quote to himself, "Slow is smooth, smooth is fast." By keeping his movements relaxed and efficient, he saved his precious energy. And this actually became his survival strategy for the entire day. Now, sitting still for 8 straight hours is basically torture. So to survive, Dong came up with an 8-hour game plan. He cleverly divided the massive chunk of time into 4 quarters, kind of like a basketball game, 2 hours each. It just made the whole thing feel a bit more manageable.
But very quickly, he ran into a pretty funny problem. Trying to count from 1 to 10 in your head, it is surprisingly impossible when you are fasting. His brain was so foggy, he would get to like 3 and just completely forget his numbers. So he actually had to start counting his breaths out loud just to stay focused.
So, painful sitting versus playing with an imaginary chi ball. Sitting cross-legged for hours hurts a lot. To pass the time in the second quarter, Dong used his imagination. He pictured this glowing ball of chi, or energy, right between his hands. He played with this invisible ball just to distract himself from the pain in his legs. And surprisingly, it worked. Chapter 4. The Mosquito Boss Fight. Just when he thought he had a rhythm, a tiny, deadly enemy arrived. Picture this, like a slow-motion action movie. The room is dead quiet. Suddenly, a mosquito lands right on his face. He feels the bite. He slowly raises his hand. He waits for it. Slap. He opens his hand. Miss. The enemy completely escaped. But the mosquito got greedy. An hour later, it came back and landed on his arm. Dong said, "I waited for the perfect moment." He waited for its needle to go deep into his skin, and then he flexed his arm muscles. This totally trapped the mosquito's needle. One quick slap, and boom, victory. The boss was defeated. Chapter 5. The Darkest Hour. The funny parts were officially over, and the absolute hardest part of the journey had arrived. Welcome to the fourth quarter struggles. His body totally crashed. He was hit with extreme dizziness and intense nausea. He said it felt just like climbing the high Jade Mountain on a completely empty stomach. Plus, there was this super annoying noise coming from a nearby store outside. It was literally driving him crazy. For the final 30 minutes, he turned off all the lights. Just a pitch-dark room. Time seemed to completely stop. He kept wondering if his timer was broken. Those final 30 minutes honestly felt like a whole hour of torture. Then came the final 4 minutes, defeat and victory. His legs were so completely numb that he couldn't stand and he couldn't sit.
He actually had to lie down on the floor, but he didn't quit. He just laid there, kicking his toes just to keep the blood moving, right up until the timer finally beeped.
Chapter 6, The Ultimate Reward. Dong survived the night and woke up the next morning feeling incredible. The 44-hour adventure was finally complete. So he was finally allowed to use his phone again. He grabbed it, super excited to check everything after a whole day of silence. But when he looked at the screen, 2%. He had totally forgotten to charge it, so it only had 2% battery left anyway.
So what is the real lesson here? Well, it is that we need to unplug to reconnect. We have to face ourselves in silence to reclaim our stolen attention from all these screens. But here is the beautiful part. You do not need to fast for 44 hours. Just taking 3 to 5 minutes a day to sit in quiet, away from your phone, can really heal your mind. Which leads me to this final question for you. Will you turn off your phone notifications today? Even just for a little bit? I challenge you to try just a tiny piece of Dong's adventure right now. Unplug for just a few minutes. Think about it. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I will see you next time.